Evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Emily Bloom. Kohberger lived just 8 miles away from where the students were murdered, but he was arrested 2,500 miles away in Pennsylvania. Our Bryan Kohberger spoke with Moscow police today and has the latest on the arrest and the investigation.
Well, Emily, almost 7 weeks after the murders of these 4 U of I students, police have a suspect in custody. Just today, Kohberger's lawyer issued a statement saying he intends to waive the extradition hearing to extradite his transport to Idaho. I spoke with Moscow police today about what this all means and the next steps in this investigation.
Up until this point, certainly the investigation has been led by the drive to find and apprehend a suspect. Well, we've done that now.
Now, Moscow PD say they're looking to learn everything they can about Bryan Kohberger,
so that we can get a clearer picture of not only who he is, but what led up to these events.
Moscow PD can't say exactly what they are looking for, but say their investigation isn't over.
The person who we believe committed these murders is in custody. However, the investigation does still continue.
What's next in this investigation? Getting Kohberger, who was found in Pennsylvania, back to Idaho.
But once we get official word that extradition has been waived, then he will be transported back to Idaho as soon as possible.
On Saturday, Kohberger's lawyer said that the WSU grad student intends to waive his extradition hearing and will go back to Idaho.
But once we get official word that extradition has been waived, then he will be transported back to Idaho as soon as possible.
Until he's back, there's no set timeline in the case.
You know, we've got a lot of questions today on when is he going to be extradited? When is his first court appearance? When can we get these documents? When can we get this information? And a lot of that is just absolutely unknown.
Additionally, until his return, information about what led to his arrest is sealed.
And we're ready and wanting to share those, but we just have to wait until we legally can do so.
Despite the arrest, Moscow PD maintained that the investigation is far from over and that they are still looking out for more tips and calls. Now, 4 News Now also spoke with a criminologist at Sacramento State, same path Kohberger was studying at WSU. She says that with how big this story has gotten and how many people have become invested in trying to identify a killer themselves, the 4 victims, Maddie, Ethan, Xana, and Kaylee, are now being left out of the story. She also says that with how high profile this has become, it could be harder to find a jury pool that hasn't seen the case in the news or online.
You're seeing so much of the social media, true crime space, and mainstream media really focusing in on this suspect. And that makes sense because the arrest happened very recently. But something that is always a concern is when it gets so big that people that potentially could be jurors are no longer unbiased.
Now, police say that they continue to work hard on this investigation. Their tip line has already received over 400 new calls since yesterday. And they ask that if you have any information regarding the suspect, to share that so they can put together the pieces of what happened and how we got to this point. Live in studio, Bryan Kohberger, 4 News Now.
Thank you, Bryan. And like she just said, police still need your help. They stress this investigation is not over. They ask that you spread the name and photo of the suspect arrested and ask anyone who knows him to come forward and contact the tip line by email or by phone. The address and number is on your screen right now, and it can also be found at kxly.com.